Hello, everyone, and welcome. Today, I'm going to be taking you through the SaaS Forecast Readiness worksheet, and I'm going to be showing you how to use that system and all the different pieces and things you need to know. So let's take a look. So first off, SaaS Forecast Readiness worksheet is used to help you gather all of the data you need in order to fill out a complete forecast for a SaaS business. In the first section, the customer segmentation tab, we've got it built where you enter all of the segments, customer segments, and clarify them to some extent. Now, it could be that you have your customer segments fully clarified and you know this stuff inside and out. In which case, maybe you don't need all aspects of this particular tab, but it's often helpful for most clients, most people I work with, to get the stuff filled in. So let's take a look at it. First off, you'll fill in your different segment titles right here. So for example, if I want to call this small business, and instead of mid-size, we call this professional or something like that, it's going to change that on my other tabs as well. You can see it here, you can see it, on something. You can see it here as well, small business, professional, etc. So the other tabs don't really have anything for that, but you will want to go ahead and fill these particular ones in so that it aligns throughout. Now, the next piece is we're going to enter business metrics. This is just generally helping you think through your different customer segments, headcount, revenue, how much they're willing to spend per user, how much they're willing to spend per account, and other relevant data. This might be, if you're working in a, I don't know, you're selling SaaS to insurance companies, it might be the different kinds of insurances they provide for these different kinds of segments. It might be, if you're selling to manufacturers, it might be the different kinds of materials they use. It might, if you're selling to fleet management, it might be the different kinds of cars they have or something like that. It really depends on the industry as to how what business metrics are really relevant to these different segments right here. Then we're going to talk about what features are required for each one of these to purchase. So for example, if there's some compliance requirements, probably at the enterprise or top level pieces, if there's security requirements, are there features that need to be integrated, or generally just major features within the application that need to be added, and some that need to be added for enterprise, and some that can, just small businesses need, or very often there are features at the enterprise level that small businesses don't need. But it's important to list these things out so that we have a good idea as to how the features need to be put together. Now, once again, this is more product related than it is pricing and forecasting related, but it's really nice to get a good idea, and it'll give the forecast builder a little bit more insight into how the system works, how the pricing works, why it works, and it often opens additional questions that wouldn't otherwise be asked. Next, we're going to look at the actual price. So we're going to ask, what is the average revenue per account for each one of these different segments? What is the value metric? And very often the value metric is going to be more of an explanation, although it could just be something like seat-based, usage-based. But often you want to know, like, what is that usage-based? Because that will give some insight into that ARPA. And then if you've just got like a basic price per user, we actually call this price per user, or price, sometimes price per account, but it's really price per user. It's going to be in here. Now, you might want to come in and change the way that this particular item, price per user, is done. It could be other things that go into there, but this is a good place to start, and feel free to go in and change that item. And then finally, if there's other upsells that are most likely non-recurring revenue, like training or implementation or something like that, the list of what those upsells might be or those additional sales might be, and an average number for each one of these different segments. So if implementation for enterprises average $10,000, where if it's for small, it's average $1,000, we would want to put those numbers in there and give notes on those over here. So that's page one, getting everything started and understanding segmentation. Next, we're going to come into the customer sales mix assumptions. So very often what we start with is the CEO or the stakeholders come in and they say, well, we need to make X number of dollars in year one, or we're expecting to get X number of dollars in year one. And what this does is this helps you understand how many customers and at how much money you have to sell to get to that revenue number. So, and then what the mix of those customers is going to be. So the way that I use this this particular one, we start off here with users per account type. So we're thinking about this in this case as a usage-based system. I don't have other spreadsheets built for, sorry, a seat-based system. I don't have other accounts built for usage, other spreadsheets built for usage-based systems. But if you ask for them, I can put them together for you. So in this case, though, it is an enterprise B2B SaaS, and we're selling this at X number of seats per account. So we're going to say it's 30 seats on average for a small account. It's 100 for professional. It's 400 for an enterprise. The price per user per year is $350, then $325, then $300. So it's going down. And then this other, which is just kind of a catch-all that I've got, it's just 100 and 100. Just I was kind of throwing some numbers in there just to have a fourth item. So for the most part, like it's looking like this. And that's what we do is we look at the yearly on this because we're looking at enterprise sales, and this just divides it into the monthly for you. And then it gives you the average revenue per account per year. And then we've got the estimated percentage of users. So here, anything that's got the yellow background and the orange kind of dark brown border are editable. So let's say, for example, that we wanted to have this be 30%, and then we need to take this to 50%, something like that. You can see the check over here. I just realized, oh, that's not right. It's got to be 40%. And I'll actually switch that up so it turns red if it's not 100. So here you can see the mix of those buyer types, or those segments right here. And then finally, an estimated number of users you're going to create. So are you going to generate that first year? So let's say you take it down to 1,000 users. Now you're at 322,000. And really what this is helpful for is thinking about, let's go back to that 3,000. Thinking about like, oh, I gotta, like at that rate, I gotta sell 900, I gotta have 900 users. That's a lot, or 30 accounts. Is that really doable? And this is the question that usually pops up. Is this really doable? Can I actually make this work? And, like actually something I should probably do is just highlight all of these, because these are the numbers everybody's looking at. Like how many accounts, what's the revenue for each one of these? How many accounts do I need to sell at each level, at totaling how much, and for a total of X number of dollars. So that's really what this is helping you figure out, is how many is actually reasonable, how many accounts do I need to sell, and then you can get into figuring out the cost of that. So that moves us on over to that customer acquisition costing page. Here we can put in, what is your cost of acquisition maximum? What's your cost of acquisition minimum? What's your sales and marketing yearly budget? And then a churn rate and a beginning churn rate, end of the year 3 churn rate, because it only goes 3 years out. ARPA minimum, ARPA maximum. So we're saying that we're gonna say our ARPA starts at 1,000. Although I'm gonna take this up because it's gonna play in with. Let's say it's 6,000. There you go. $6,000 average revenue per account, and then it's going to go up to 10,000 ARPA over time. And let's actually take this down to 8,000 ARPA. Actually, what did we say was our 10,500 was the average revenue per year per account for those small enterprise accounts. So let's sure, let's do that. Let's go 10,000. Let's go 8,000 up 8,500 up to 10,500. And that represents our small numbers right there. And then based on this, we've got this sales and marketing budget of this much money, which really you got to split between these 4 different areas. So if you've got a total sales and marketing budget, maybe $240,000, you need to go and split it between these items. And I think actually I'm going to put totals up at the top and then the percentage split between those. It's kind of a tough one to figure out, like how are you going to sell to small versus medium versus large, but you can figure out, you can split that budget between all of them. If nothing else, you can think about it from an advertising spend and figure out what's your advertising budget to each one of them, and then what's the related cost in sales time, sales and other marketing time. Additionally, you put in your cost of acquisition max, cost of acquisition minimum, and that's going to give you your ARPA, MRR, total customers, churned customers, etc. So it's basically building in the churns, building in your ARPA, it's building in new customers, ad spend, etc. And this actually should be sales and marketing spend, not ad spend. It was originally just advertising. And I'll fix it on the others. I just realized I missed that. So you can come in to each one of these and figure out, based on your budgets, how much money you've got allocated to each one of them, and then what does that spend look like. Now, you can actually come in and just change this to say advertising and just say, we're going to allocate X number of advertising dollars to each one of these things, but it doesn't really work out like that. It's better to put sales and marketing and include the advertising budget in the sales and marketing budget, and then kind of separate out each one of those. And that will give you these numbers that's going to tell you what's your yearly run rate, what's your MRR, etc. And then we can do a calculation on totals for all of them. So you can figure out, is that enough money? And I think now that I'm thinking about it, I need to actually build that in, and I'll put that up at the top for you as well. All right, next, payroll. How much money are you going to pay each one of these people? You can put their names in there if you want. What's their start date? Estimated start date, end date if they have if it's a temporary role, how much are you giving them on a bonus? If you're wondering about how to set up bonus and incentive structures, take a look at my forecasting webinar that has all the bonus. This is a breakdown of how the bonuses are generally done in these kinds of forecasts, what department they're in, what's their categorization. So this is the actual department. Let's say they're director of product. They would be in the product department. If they're a salesperson, they would be in the sales team. If they are a customer success rep, they're in customer support. And then categorization is general administration, sales and marketing, or R&D. So those top three categorizations. And then what is their cost per month? Now, something that's not built into here right now that I need to get added eventually is also a modifier for taxes and insurance and other benefits, but I'm going to get that in there a little bit later. It's a good start for what we've got, and very often we build that in the forecast anyway. Okay, seasonality. If you have seasonality to sales, you would put it in here. 8.3 is, it's 8.3 times, or 33 times 12 is 100, and so that's how this is done. But really, what you're going to do is you're going to increase and decrease these totals to make sure you add up to 100. Oh, hey, Rayleigh, I'm in the middle of doing a video. Can you give me just a minute? I'm not. Okay, you stay right here for just a minute. Let me finish. Okay, so let me go and add a sum right here. There we go. So there you go, 99.6 on here. It's pretty close. I don't have the 0.33 added in all of these. So if you need some months to be higher and some months to be lower, you just change these numbers to represent those changes. And next, we just have a bunch of questions about sales growth and the cost of sales team, sales and account management. So the cost of SDRs, SDR directors, account executives, account managers. And if you're wondering about the role of all of these things, the roles of all of these different things, they can pretty easily be found online. You want to get up here? Hold on. Oh, are you okay? You all right? Hey, come on. Okay. There we go. All right, there we go. Okay, so that is, so just need the answers to those items there. Next, discounting. Discounting is really a pain for creating forecasts, because if you don't know how things are being discounted and you have enterprise sales that are set to be at a certain amount and you're bringing them down by a specific amount, that needs to be incorporated into the forecast. So an explanation on how you plan on doing forecasting is really helpful. If you need some help figuring out how to do forecasting, you can always give us a call. Sorry, not forecasting, discounting. You can always give us a call. And then finally, operating expenses. Now, this is clearly a super important piece of figuring out your forecast. The way I've got this put together is you've got what is the item, what is the cost, and is it a monthly cost, a monthly, yearly, as needed, or usage based? Are you paying for the company? Are you paying per seat? Are you paying per usage? And so if you have a monthly cost put in here that is seat based, it's going to turn it this color. And you're going to put in a number there. So for example, let's say we had 13 employees that need that. Now we've got the monthly amount at $100 per seat at $1,300, a total of $15,600 for the year. Now, the only thing in here is that when you add this number here, it deletes my formula. So what you have to do if you go in and you delete it or you change it, you actually have to come back in and recopy that formula here, or control, like here, let's change this back to like usage based, goes to 0. But for this one, I would need to like copy this. So I'm going to control C this, and then I'm going to take this to like, say company, and I'm going to control V there. So I take that back to 0. So I just added this formula back in. So it's a little bit clunky on this particular piece, but it's just as easy as copying and pasting that formula back in. And that's going to give you all of your yearly totals and monthly totals and how everything is being calculated. Now, I may end up coming back and additionally adding in the categorization and what would I call it? Where's it at? Here it is. Categorization and department for each one of these as well, because that can be really, really helpful information. May come back and do that in a little bit. Just haven't done that yet. So if you fill all of this stuff out, at that point, we'll have a great foundation for building a forecast. I hope this is helpful. Please let me know if you have any questions, and have a great day. Thank you.